Praise Yahweh. Happy Sabbath, everyone. Have a scripture by Sister Kiana and have prayer by Elder Regina Bishop.
Praise Yahweh, everyone. I'll be coming from Psalms, the 15th chapter, starting at the first verse. Yahweh, who shall abide in your house? Who shall live in your holy hill? He who walks uprightly and does righteousness, and who speaks the truth in his heart. To his brother he does not take up a reproach, nor does he do evil to his friend, nor with his tongue does he backbite and slander. He shall stand who despises a vow person, but he who honors those who love and reverence you. He that vows to his own hurt, but changes not. I have read Psalms, the 15th chapter, the first through the fourth verse. May Yahweh add a blessing to the readers, hearers, and doers of his holy word for the edification of our soul.
Hallelujah.
Most wise and eternal Father, I want to tell you thank you for yet another day. I want to tell you thank you for allowing us to enter into yet another Sabbath. Just want to tell you thank you for last night lying down, this morning rising. If I'm asking you to bless the instructor, the teacher on the day, that he may give us a word directly from you. If I'm as I always ask you to remember our senior bishop, Dr. Herman H. Davis. Continue to crown him from the crown of his head down to the very soles of his feet. Let us follow him as he follows you. In Yahshua Messiah, we do pray. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. First, giving honor to Yahweh, to my bishop, the overseer of this house, and truly to each and every one of the saints. Truly, I thank and praise Yahweh for each and every last one of you all. I thank him for this opportunity to be able to come before you. And I thank him for allowing me just another chance to step over the threshold once more and again. Truly, I count it all joy, not sometimes, but all the time. I thank him for all that he has done for me. I could never, if I had 1,000 tongues, I could never thank him enough for all that he has done. And I just, I won't be before you long, but I guess, as I say, I'll be long enough. But I had so much that it came through my mind as preparing the message and everything, the lesson, and many different thoughts of mm, let every man examine himself. That was one of them. Another one was work while it's day, for when nighttime comes, no man shall work. I mean, and the list went on and on. And, you know, when you see the things that are going on today and you see it, like they said, it'll be a great falling away. The word said it'll be a great falling away. And as I've sat out there in the vestibule and I begin to think, I thank Yahweh for my mother that, you know, brought me to church. And it was up to me to stay in church. And I didn't miss a lot of church when I was growing up. Matter of fact, I didn't miss any. It's because when she said it's time to go, it was time for everybody to go, whether you wanted to or not. And so that's not optional. And matter of fact, I enjoyed and loved being in church at a young age. And I didn't sit in the back. I sat at the front row, the very front seat. It's because I wanted it then, just like I want it now. I have not lost my desire and my hunger and thirst after righteousness. And every day it is truly a work. I mean, you know, I'll count it all joy to, you know, just be able to stand here And I've seen and talked to quite a few people that throughout the years that have seen and that have known me and, that I've had to encounter and everything else. A lot of the guys that I've seen from over in the troubled areas and everything else, and speaking with them, they encourage me as well as I encourage them, and I told them that, I've never had really no alts against nobody because nobody's really done nothing to me. And so even if I did, I mean, I've always asked the Father to remove any alts from me so that I could do His will. And I thank Him for my vow, as I say all the time, because, I made a vow to Him and I won't take it back. Come hell or high water, I mean, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And I really like to thank my overseer for, all that he installs in me from the word. I mean, like I said, you can never come to church and not get a word. I mean, as long as I've been here, and that is the joy of my life. Because every little word that is said, you're going to need it, whether, as they said, you're going to need it, and you'll understand it better by and by. And so, I thank him for, again, for my leader, for the preach word that he gives in this temple. And truly, he is responsible for mostly all the word that I do know. I mean, I thought I knew something back when I was growing up, but I knew enough that I wanted it for myself. And like I said, my vow is my vow. And it's up to me to protect my vow. And I mean, and when it comes to your vow, many things shall try to entangle your feet, but none shall hold you fast. And so, you can't let no, things come and hinder you from doing the will of the Father. It's because it becomes a compromise. And then, I thought about it just a few moments ago, and then it was just like the conviction. When you know yourself, when you out of His will and out of His word, and you know what is called for you, and you know what you're responsible for, and you know what you got to do to make it right, it's up to you to do that. Because if you love Him and you made a vow, now it didn't say half of the word, but it said all the word. And so, I thank him again for my leader that points that out to me on a daily basis. Is because if anybody knows better, I know better. And I can never say I don't know better. And I thank him for teaching me to know better. And so, it's up for us to, to follow peace with all men and make things right, whether you feel that you're right or wrong. And sometimes you don't want to say, well, I'm sorry, but because again, it becomes stubborn and proud and everything else. But at the same time, you're held accountable to do what you know what is right. And so, always, those convictions. I mean, when you out of His will and when you doing things that hey, I got to make this right. I mean, don't procrastinate. For they say for tomorrow may be too late. Because as I said, I've seen some of the guys that throughout the streets and all this week, and I'm glad to see you. Some of them used to like me, some of them didn't too much care for me. But now that they came to me and they said, well, I understand why you was hard on us and all of that, and they thanked me and they said we know what you were trying to do. And they said, we thank you because you talk to us and everything. And they say, well, you were fair, but you were firm. And it's always that good medicine that is hard on you. It's not that easy medicine. And so, chastisement and everything else is, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be, told that you're wrong. Nobody wants to, be, nobody wants to humble themselves. I mean, they do, but I'm saying, but at the same time, you know, that didn't come easy because I'm saying you have to work on that, especially when when it comes to, as my leader say, to another man, it's like, okay, I gotta, be under somebody else telling me what to do, just like the boss at the job. You don't want to always do what he tell you, but if you want the paycheck, you're gonna do what he tell you. And so, and sometimes when you at work, they may want you to compromise. But again, you got to stand on what you believe. Not for them, but for yourself. It's because you're going to have to live for that. Just like your friends and family and everyone else. They may be wanting you to compromise in what you believe and everything else. But when you know that it's wrong, you can't compromise. Because if you compromise one time, they're going to want you to compromise again and again and again and again. And then, again, it's just like being in church. If you miss 2 or 3 days, oh, it didn't bother me. And then, okay, you talk to them again. Okay, hey, we haven't seen you in 2 or 3 weeks. Where you at? Well, I'll be there, because I'm saying it's done. The effects of you being in there and your love for it, you starting to drift away. And so, it becomes, and the enemy don't mind. See, that didn't bother you. You missed today, and so no biggie. And then, then it becomes easier and easier for you to keep on missing. And then before you know it, you ain't been there in 10 or 15 years. And it's like, okay, what's going on? And then so those things that you used to do, they will creep back in. And it don't take no 10 or 15 years. It can be a whole day. I mean, I've been with the wrong people at the wrong time, hearing the wrong conversations and the wrong talk. I mean, so again, you got to protect yourself because if no one else, my leader, he can only put it in you, but it's up to you to stay in it. And I'm saying you can't do it for your friends or family or no one else. You got to do it for yourself. And you got to love it. And and it came to me, stir up the gifts, and that was like rekindle the fire that once burnt in you. And so you got to do it. Can't nobody do it for you. You got to find your joy and your excitement again. I mean, if by chance you so happen to lose it, or just, put them in remembrance. And I thank him that I always have remembrance that, what he has done for me. And truly, if I'm grateful for all that he does for me because he didn't have to do it, but I thank him for his favor. And so for that alone, my attitude and my gratitude should reflect that on not sometimes, but all the time. Because he didn't have to do it, but I'm so glad that he did. I'm no better and no different than anyone. I'm just a filthy rag like anyone else, trying to make it in. And so what I came to was hindrance. You ran well, but what and who hindered you? So that becomes the question of the day. Who and what did you allow to separate you? I mean, because thoughts of things and things do materialize. And it doesn't take it, when it says, choose you this day whom you going to serve. And it don't take a whole day. You got to think about the next second, okay? Because your conversations, and it's easy to get with the wrong person and just in the blink of an eye, you start having those old conversations and everything else. And so that's why it says come out from among them. Come out from among them. If not, because they become either, again, either they're going to pull on you or you're going to pull them. And so you got to make the decision. Am I going to hang with them? Am I going to talk with them? Or, or just let them be on their way, because it's best to just say, hey, I'm glad for you doing well. I pray for you. And just, kind of keep it moving. I mean, but because, again, what do you have in common with them? Because if your conversations get caught up in the next thing you know, you find yourself doing what they doing or doing what you used to do. And so, you got to be aware and be at all times, not sometimes, but all times, because the enemy comes to seek and kill and destroy the very elect of him. And so, we have we supposed to be the ones that set the example, not sometimes, but again, all the time. And so they looking at us, and we don't know, who's looking at us and taking note. But we do know that Yahweh is forever present, and he's forever taking note of everything that we do and the thoughts and deeds that are in our body, that we indulge in, or, that our mind goes into those areas. He's fully aware. And so, we owe it to ourselves to be in his will and in his word at all times. And it said, be ye also ready, because that is one of the requirements. And so we may have to pray for somebody and everything else, but if your mind is here, there, and everywhere, again, how can you do what you called to do? Because in the military, they have a thing to where you have to be on what they call it a post. Wherever, if they put you at the front door, they don't want to see you nowhere else but at that front door. And you cannot leave that post until you are properly relieved. That means until somebody comes there that is qualified equally as you are to protect that door. Or whatever, you just can't do whatever you want to do. And then when you enlist in the Army, you are their property. And I'm saying if you get out, it's no going back home or none of that, well, hey, I'm going to jump on the bus and go home and see the family and stay an extra day. If they give you a certain time to be there, you better be there. And it's at the same time with the military. I mean, if they say our meeting starts at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, but most of the time theirs is at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Get up and let's go, everybody. They give you enough time to shave, maybe. You won't even have time. You might have one boot on, but you better be in that attendance when they take roll call, because they don't play that. I mean, you are their property, and they do whatever they will with you. And if you leave out of there, they send the military police after you to your house, lock you up, take you down to the nearest police department, process you there, and take you on over to the military holding facility or what have you. But you can't just do whatever you want to do. And you have to respect everybody in that Army at all times. And it's a yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And so conduct and laws are for a reason. And order is for a reason. Because without order, everybody, again, would do whatever they want to do, however they want to do. And then, you'll just have chaos and a big mess. But, I think my bishop for setting order, and, I was watching a thing earlier, yesterday, and they was talking about how the church had, the men on one side and the women on one side. And it's for a reason, to alleviate any and all distractions. Because, again, when you on a job, you can't have your friends up there congregating and jaw-jacking and talking stuff and everything else. You have to keep your focus on doing what you're supposed to be doing. And that's the same way with the word. You have to stay focused in the word, and, you have to stay focused in your job. And your job is to, be that light for the people. And so you have to be on your job not sometimes, but, again, all the time. It's a requirement, just like in the service. You can't be there, okay, when you get ready. It's not optional. You have to do what you're supposed to be doing. And so, like I said, I just wanted to touch base on a few things when it says about hindrance. Hindrance is anything that stop you from doing what you're supposed to be doing, and it's a compromise. And then those things that causes divisions. You know, we can't let anything cause division in our lives. I mean, we can't amongst each other. We can't let anyone separate us. We have to always be in unity with one another. Again, following peace with all men. We're going to have disagreements, but then we still have to come back in sister and brotherly love. And then again, put those things which are behind and pressing forward to those things which are ahead. And we have to stay prayed up. It's because it's not getting easier out here. The test is going to always be, a test, and you're going to be tried and tried by the fire. And it's not going to be how you want to be tested. You're going to face tests that you never thought you was going to face. And I'm saying that so you don't know what the test is. But you have to endure affliction as a good soldier. And you still have to be determined that you're going to stay in the race, because the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but to he that endureth unto the end. And not only he, but she. We got to keep our minds girded up. And we got to, fight the good fight. That is our mission. And that is our goal, is to see Yahshua the Messiah. Any questions? My scripture was in, I didn't actually give one, but it was pertaining to hindrance. And it was, but we can go at Romans 16 and 17. Watch out for those things that cause division and hindrance. I have said these things to you, that ye may not be stumbled. John 16 and 1. You are stopping the people from working. Do not delay me. Genesis 24 and 56. Do not put a stumbling block before the blind. Leviticus 19 and 14. Determine not to put an obstacle. Okay. Determine not to put an obstacle or a stumbling block in your brother's in your brother's way. Romans 14 and 13. Let the children come to me and do not hinder them. Matthews 19 and 14. Mark 10 and 14. Luke 18 and 16. Why do you tremble the woman? Matthews 26 and 10. Do not cause any to stumble.
Praise Yahweh. I just think it was an excellent example of you using the order and the process of the military, because, as you said, without order, there's nothing. And we can say that we have a law, but if you don't have order within you, you're not going to follow the law. And you do have to have a leader. So the person, whoever comes and say what time this is, what time is that, I was just told Sister Bishop, I would be in trouble because it wouldn't be just one boot that I wouldn't have on. I probably wouldn't even be prepared or dressed. Yeah. So I just think that's a perfect example to be able to use that as that. And just know that, and then you said on your post,
Yes.
how it doesn't make a difference even if you have to use the restroom, have this, have that. And then what you followed with is you said that you have to be replaced by someone that is equally experienced and on the level that you are. So that fit right with come out from among them.
Yeah.
And so I just think that as you elaborated and talked about what hindered you, we point the finger as it's in a physical, but the greatest hindrance in my experience is myself. The greatest stumbling block in my experience is myself. The greatest of what will separate you from the will and the love of the Father is within myself. And it's because it's something that's going on that I have not allowed the order of the Father to take hold to. So I just think the way you explained it was really great.
Yes.
In that very beautiful lesson, it is so many religious establishments that do not have order. They have a program, but they don't have order. And I was just telling the other bishop back here, I said this, it's so amazing when I came in and heard your message. It's like everything is fitting like a glove with the word in this temple. If we have any doubt, the order of the structure, the foundation is so that the word is falling in order. So it's finding us where we are, and out of the mouth of two or three, my word will be established. That's what it says. You know, and I'm grateful. As a leader, I know some of the things that's going on in the church among you, but then you don't know it. And then for the word to come out, it would make me say, Father, please forgive me, and thank you for chastising me. Because in you saying it earlier, people do not, they do not want to take chastisement. And not even here. You know, I'm all right with you, Bishop, as long as you don't cross that line, you know, and tell me what I can and cannot do. But the whole plan of the Father is structured and is order, and we've got to be orderly people, because if not, we're going to be taken. We're going to be taken, you know, and if we don't prepare ourselves, the military is an excellent example, because to me, I don't want you to hut to get down and give me push-ups and all of that.
Right.
But if it's a need for an emergency call, you should be ready to heed to the call.
That's it.
You know, even if you got to carry one boot, you know the call is more important than both boots on.
Yes.
You know, because your respect for. So, you know, beautiful lesson.
If you look at it, they're responsible for the bombs and everything else. That if in the case that we're attacked, and they're talking about that now, that North Korea is putting a missile. They tested a large missile that is capable of reaching the United States. And so without order, those guys and stuff would be everywhere else. And so they have to stay up and watch and monitor those missiles 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at all times, just because we never know. And so, you know, I don't know if we hear it, but you hear the jets and everything flying over us. Those are the F-16s and all of that stuff going to these other places. From Fort Wayne, they bought them back over there. They got, I think, another 100 of them they just bought over there. But we got a lot going on, and then it's a lot serious. But I'm saying, and so those guys have to be serious and ready, and some of them have fallen out of training and all of that. And so the chastisement is needed to be there, because you can't do better if you don't get the chastisement and everything else. And you're going to see a need for growth. And I'm saying growth is what we all must do every day. If we didn't learn something, if you didn't learn ABC today, you know, you got to at least learn DFG and everything else, you know, but you just can't stay stuck at that same place. And so, you know, it's always someone that is that's wiser than you. And so I'm grateful again to my leader because a lot of the stuff that I know now, like I said, I didn't know it. And I'm saying I was in church, but I didn't know what I was. You know, we didn't have the order that we have here. And I'm saying, and then I was listening yesterday to one of the famous people that everybody, a lot of people listen to. They said take the order out of the church and let the people just do whatever they want to do. But again, as you hear the leader say and the word say, you know, this is his house, and it's not for you to pollute it and do whatever you want to do in it because if you know, it's not your house. I mean, it's for correction.
Also, with that, I know a lot of people disagree, but I know two organizations that separates the women on one side and the men on the other
Yeah,
because it is a distraction.
yeah.
And even when they tried it in the schools, where they had all male schools and the girls went to another school or in another section, the turnout was greater, because distraction is so bad. And once someone gets distracted, it's hard to get them back focused. Because if they can't fulfill their distraction, they become angry and bitter because of the lack of their ability to fulfill what they want. So therefore, they don't give back their 100% as though they did when they first started. And you said that as well. You need to go back and get the excitement
Yes.
that you had when you first came,
Rekindle.
because that excitement must be
glory.
rekindled every
Yes.
time, you know. And even as a leader, been here longer than any of you, you know, the thing is that when I see Whitney come in and all of that, and I know y'all don't understand, but that is a reignitement for
Yes.
me.
Yes.
That's an excitement for me because sometimes people been in it so long that they either think they rule it, they own it, they got it. I'm the one, and I'm standing here as a leader saying, but you're not the one because you're not following orders.
Exactly.
Then you have somebody to come in off the street that is willing to follow orders. You know, so you have to keep you have that you get motivated and you get excited to keep moving and keep building. And we have to go back to what first made us well. You know, I've been here so long. I never want to be here so long where it's just merely we roll along. I don't want to do that. I want to be excited because he inhabits the praises of his people. So that means he inhabits the excitement. And our excitement excites him.
Yes.
Our
yes.
excitement,
Praise.
people don't understand the United House of Prayer.
Praise.
And like everything, they have all kind of negatives to say about anything. If there's order in it, they make it a cult. They make it this, that, or the other. And I've come to believe, so what? You're going to believe what you want anyway. But I look at the United House of Prayer, and as much as people may not understand where they are, their excitement for their leader builds their church, builds their leader, strengthens their leader. But when you grieve the leader, you know, it takes the leader down to a level where it is just, he has to fight only for the Father to keep him up. But then that grief on him is dangerous for you because that's when the angels are released to fight in his defense. So order is necessary, and it's a beautiful lesson. It is amazing how this word has fallen in line. In line, I mean, it is fitting like a glove, and I just sat here and just looked at it and listened to it. And I said, wow, if these people don't know the Father is talking,
Yes.
they'll never know it.
Yes.
You know, because he is. And through his word is how he's delivering it. And you can be mad.
Yes.
You can feel like, well, they throwing off at me. Nobody really knows.
But don't let that keep you from staying home.
Exactly.
because your strength lies among the saints. And I'm saying, and it says, he that have an ear, let him hear. Warning comes before destruction. Because I'm saying, I was telling somebody earlier, it's just like when you don't listen to instructions. It's like putting on a pair of those earphones and a pair of dark glasses and then run out in the middle of 38th Street or one of these and then expect not to get hit. Where you didn't see and you're not listening, how could you not expect to get hit? And so, you got to have an ear to hear what is being told to you. Whether you think that it's, you know, you don't want to follow it. But I'm saying if somebody's telling you, hey, you're going to get hit, they can only tell you so well before you go out there, and then you won't have to be told. You're going to experience it. Because, and I'm saying you may or you may not survive it. But it's up to you. If you got an ear, hear. And you're fortunate to have someone that is knowledgeable that is telling you. I'm saying he's not telling you nothing for, just for naught. He's telling you for a reason. You'll pay a price. You'll pay a price when you don't listen. You may get to be older or you may not. And I'm saying, like I said, you'll understand it better by and by. Just keep on living. But can't tell you to do anything. We can tell you, but we can't make you. Pray my strength in return. I'll do the same for you.